This episode is probably the most important conversation I've ever recorded. This is Monty. He's an ultra runner, yes, but that label barely scratches the surface of who he is and what he's overcome. Monty's completed 4 100-mile races and he's currently training for a 200-miler this winter. But what makes this story remarkable isn't the distances he's run, it's the path he's taken to get there. A few years ago, Monty was in a place few of us talk about openly, struggling with addiction, silently battling a dependence on cocaine, and hiding it all behind closed doors. He hit rock bottom, and somehow, through strength, vulnerability, and a willingness to face the darkest parts of himself, he began to climb back. I first met Monty during the Lone Wolf event last year. We shared some miles, and he briefly opened up about what he'd been through, but this conversation goes deeper, and it's one I truly believe more people need to hear. Monty is now running 10k every single day until he raises 10k for Calm, the Campaign Against Living Miserably. It's not about the mileage though. It really, truly, genuinely is for him about the mission, to show others that even in the depths of addiction or mental health struggles, there is a way forward, and you don't have to go it alone. This episode is about resilience, honesty, and hope. It's about the power of telling the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. Monty, thank you for trusting me with your story. Monty made the drive up from Cornwall to London. We went for a run together and we aptly sat amongst the logs. As you'll hear, he's a tree surgeon and we had a conversation outside. So join me for my conversation with Monty Purcell. The best way to meet someone is to
lone wolf,
be running on an ultra, and then lap after lap. We shared.
The thing I liked about that is I didn't actually know who you was.
Oh, nice, yeah.
If you know what I mean. You know what I mean? And then we just sort of connected, didn't we? And then when I got home, I actually got like some of my mates were messaging me like, "Oh, I'll follow this bloke. You're on his thing." And I was like, "Oh yeah."
You got home and you opened your phone, and then I'm just shouting advice at you.
Yeah, slapping the banister.
Yeah, I liked it because I guess you just start chatting about yourself and sharing easy miles together.
Yeah.
And you just started opening up about your story, and I was just blown away by, and we can get into it, but I was just blown away by the details of what it's really like to be in that space.
Yeah, horrible. Really dark.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like some of the details you shared with me just like really stuck with me. But I guess like we could start by talking about like the challenge you're doing now.
Yeah.
And what the kind of nucleus for that was.
So the challenge that I'm doing is a minimum of 10k a day until I've raised 10k, so £10,000 for Calm, which is a charity that stands for Campaign Against Living Miserably. It's a suicide prevention helpline basically. So you call them, they sort of try and push you in the right direction, see if they can help you, then put you on to other people if they need to, do you know what I mean? But just making that first call to someone like that could be enough for you, do you know what I mean? Just getting it off your chest. Like the burden, that's what sticks with me, the burden when I was going through it, of like just obviously being addicted to something, but the way that it takes control of your life and the amount of debt that I was in, and no one knew, so I was like carrying around this big old burden on my back, and I did that for years. But when I finally got to the point where I was on my knees and on like rock bottom sort of thing, and I told my mum and dad, it was like the biggest relief I've ever felt.
Yeah, actually just sort of getting it from your head.
It took me
out there.
I've thought about it quite deeply since I've started doing the challenge, really, of like I wonder why it sort of happened. I really can't put like a finger on the nail almost.
Yeah.
Because I had like most people, it's like something happened maybe like traumatic in their childhood or something like that. But I had a real good upbringing, and I think it come down to just having fun at a young age, and it just got out of hand almost, do you know what I mean? But I never seen it as a problem.
Yeah.
So I had a problem for many years, but I never looked at it as a problem. I just thought, I just enjoy it. But then it slowly took over my life, and yeah.
Well, I think that's how it happens. I mean, that's how any bad habit happens.
Yeah.
You're doing it. It's fun, or even it's for some things you can see it as helpful. You can sort of justify maybe it's like a weed habit or something, and you can
Yeah.
justify it as something that's like helpful. You know, it takes the edge
Yeah,
off, helps
yeah.
you deal with like switching off after.
Nice when you get home from work.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff, and you can justify it, and you know, months into it being an actual, or years into it being an actual issue for you, it takes a while for you to admit that actually we need to extract this from the equation.
Yeah, and you're almost ashamed. I think that's why a lot of people don't talk, and that's the message that I want to get across by doing this challenge. I want to just push people to talk. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with talking. If you're struggling, you got to talk about it. So I think it's the only way. Obviously, you've got to want to do it. And for me, it took me to get like the lowest of lows. Well, I didn't want to be here anymore. Do you know what I mean? To finally think, right, if I don't talk about this now, then this me done, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I have read a quote the other day. Actually, it was I was that low that I had to reach up to touch rock bottom, and I thought, I was like,
that's powerful.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's what it takes. I really think you have got to be at breaking point. You've got to want to do it. Like, obviously, talking to people, I went through, like I was saying to you earlier, so if I go right back, my biggest problem started when I was 2018, I would say. So quite some time ago. I knew I had issues then, like I was doing it every day. I'm going to work, and I'm a tree surgeon, so it's dangerous work. I'm going to work on like 2 hours sleep, going home, getting on it, staying up again till like 3 a.m, going to sleep, getting up at 6, and I did that for about 9 months. And
so
like,
how did it develop? Because you know, it's obviously going to progress and develop slowly and go from being something that's, so, you know, I can imagine
like a weekend.
Yeah, I can
habit.
imagine. You know, I've been in environments, you know, many times. It's just sort of it's playful. It's, you know, get a bag of blow. You know, it's just like a normal kind of thing. It's partying. It's, you know, in London, it's
like when you haven't got a problem with it, you have a good time, don't you?
Exactly. Everyone's sort of on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, not everyone's partaking, but it's just part of. Sometimes if you go out, if you're a partier, it's part of the scene. It's a big thing here in London. It's big in big cities and Manchester and all that sort of stuff.
So where I'm from, Daventry, massive there. It's only a small town, but you go out, and I'm saying it's like 70%, 30%, like 70% people are on it, 30% people are not. Like, it's
really,
so like you're surrounded by it. As soon as I start going out when I was like 18, you're surrounded by it. And then you soon start thinking, oh, I might have a go at that. And then it just escalates.
It's normalised, isn't it?
Yeah, so I started going raving. That was my sort of thing from 18 until I'm 29 now, up until I was about 25, I'd say. I was quite big on like the raves and the festivals. But yeah, it was always a weekend thing, and then it slowly just crept in the week. It was a weird,
sort of excused it.
We'd go for a quiz night on a Thursday, all of us, and it'd creep in then, and then you'd have student nights, it'd creep in, and then before you know it, it was the only thing that made me feel good. I think I wasn't happy within myself. I think that was the main. I didn't like my reality. I was in a lot of debt. Like, I'm still paying the debt off now. I'm nearly 2.5 years sober now, and I'm still paying it off. So it's a lot. And yeah, it's a lot. And I just didn't see a way out. And I think that's how it carried on for so long almost. But I did, like I said to you earlier, 2018. I got to 2019, that's when I started running, and I tried the London Marathon, but I didn't train, so I got injured. I told you, didn't I? 7 miles, got pulled off the course. Embarrassment sort of thing. My dad didn't let me live that down. None of my mates do. They call it the London 10K. Oh, do you remember when you did
done so much since.
Yeah, you remember. You remember when you did the London 10K?
Just remember, if you're listening.
Yeah.
If you fail a race, it will stay with you forever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. One of my mates, Dom, he's done the London Marathon. He's always like, oh yeah, the London 10K. You remember when you did the? And we all cut. They all come. It's like 20 people come to watch me do it. I got 7 miles round.
Oh no.
Yeah. But so after that, I packed the running in, and I went to New Zealand, like I said earlier. So I went to New Zealand. I did like a rock climbing, mountaineering guide sort of course. Had the best time ever. I'd never travelled really. went on my own, met loads of amazing people. Didn't touch anything whilst I was there. So like obviously I had a couple of beers and whatnot. We were drinking.
And this is after, so just on the clarity on the timeline, you know, you've had this, had this issue creep in.
Yeah, so it's creeped in, I'd say 2016, it started creeping in, and then I got bad in 2018.
Yeah.
So before 2017, that was like, we were just partying all the time, but it wasn't a problem, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Well, I didn't see it as a problem, but it escalated, and then it just, 2018 was when it was
when
really
you started
bad.
losing control of.
Yeah, and I knew then, I was hiding it, and I was like, every day, nobody knew, do you know what I mean?
Wow.
I had I've had two moments where I didn't want to be here, and the first one was in 2018, and my mate, I still don't know how to this day I actually spoke to him on the way here, but he just rang me. Like, it was one of the worst days of my life. I thought, I don't want to be here, do you know what I mean, anymore. This is enough for me. Couldn't see a way out, couldn't speak to anyone. Well, I didn't think I could. And he just rang me out the blue and said, I'm coming to pick you up, I need to speak to you, sort of thing. And he said he just knew.
Wow.
Which is mad, isn't it? So
wow.
he just knew something was wrong. He come to my house, picked me up, went out in his car, and I just told him everything. And then he really helped me. He did. A lot of my mates have been very helpful. And yeah, there's been a lot of people involved, to be honest. But so that was my first step. That's when I decided that I wanted to go to New Zealand. And my dad, he said, right, you just need to get away, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they helped me get away as well. And then yeah, I went away, had real good time, thought I was fine, come back, and within 2 weeks of being back, it was just before we went into lockdown, I was straight back down the rabbit hole. It's that easy, do you know what I mean?
Within weeks?
Yeah, within 2 weeks. I remember I went out, yeah, it's probably 2 weeks after I got back. I went out on a Friday and I come back in on a Sunday at 6 p.m. and my dad, just looked and he's like, you can't be going back down this path. Do you know what I mean? We haven't, you've gone away, yeah. You've sorted yourself out, and it's so easy because I hate to say it, but it's sort of like a small town mentality. Everyone's in that one bubble, no one sort of goes out of it, everyone's doing the same thing every weekend, and you just get stuck in it because you feel like there's nothing else to do. Do you know what I mean?
And you have to like stand against it.
Yeah, almost.
You feel like you have to make a stand.
Yeah, and then people, you get judged by people because you've got a lot of mates that are not really your mates, they're your weekend mates, do you know what I mean? So a lot of people that you'd see in the pub, whereas I've got my real mates now who are my good mates, but then I had so many different mates, but I don't speak to any of them now.
There were people you drank
with, I bump into them in the pub, you know what I mean? And I could stay out with them for 2 days.
Yeah.
But I have nothing to do with them now, just because it wasn't a real friendship. It's just everyone's doing the same thing, and you just get trapped. And so that happened. My dad obviously said that to me, and then luckily, I know it wasn't lucky for everyone with COVID, but for me personally, that lockdown put a real hold on what could have happened to me, I think. Obviously everything shut, didn't it? So I was like, wow, I couldn't even go to work because I couldn't drive at the time. So everyone had to be in separate vehicles at work. I couldn't go to work. So I was literally I was on lockdown. I was in the house. And that's when I started thinking, right, I need to do something now. And I thought, I'm going to get back into my running. And that is where all my running's come from, that lockdown, really. I started watching podcasts, reading books. Born to Run, classic. Everyone reads that one. You got to read Born to Run, don't you? Get your barefoot shoes on, realise that it hurts.
Jack up your calves on the first run. Everyone's done it.
And then, so it went from there. I trained for a few months and I ran my first marathon, just me and my dad, around Rutland Water. So he cycled, I ran. That's still one of the hardest runs I've ever done.
You say it was a marathon?
It was a marathon, but them last 6 miles, I'd never ran further than 20 miles in training, so that last 6 miles, I remember it was absolute hell.
And you're doing it alone, you're not doing
just me and my dad.
An event. Yeah.
And I remember you get to the end of Rutland Water, it's about 22 miles round, so then I had to sort of just do a 4 mile shimmy sort of thing. was doing 2 miles just near the van, just like
really
circles, like just want this just to end.
So you can
and
just
then
collapse into
I've got
the van.
photos of me just lying with my feet up against the side of the van, but it was a brilliant feeling. And that was when I got the bug. Then I was like, right, and then I did a 50k. So I said to you, then I found Courtney Dalwater. Thought, oh, this could be a bit of me. I want to see if I can push myself further. For me, it's all about just seeing how far I can go. Do you know what I mean? There's not much. I'm not that competitive. It's more personal for me. I feel like it's like that for a lot of people in the ultra world. You'll notice it because you've been in the races. A lot of people in them races have been through something traumatic in their life. It's sort of a trend almost. I don't know why. It's not like you're running away from something, but
well, it's interesting. I mean, we sort of skip past. I don't want to like just skip past bits that I think would be really very valuable for others. But one thing you said that I think resonates with me, and I think would resonate with a lot of people, is this idea of like not being happy with being in your own head. Yeah. And this need to escape your own mind, or just even if it's not that obvious, like it's not, some people, they don't have a racing mind, but they just want to escape the reality, the mundane nature of reality of their sober mind. They want, something else. That feeling of escape. And maybe you could talk about like maybe how running has helped in some ways, but I don't think running is the complete picture. But talk about what it was that would sort of, outside of habit, what was it that would just draw you to cocaine?
Honestly, at the time, I believed it was the only thing that would make me feel good. If I wasn't doing it, I felt horrible. Not just physically, I felt horrible. At work, I felt
because of the drugs.
I can't explain it. Like, it was a come down every day. I didn't ever do it at work. I can proudly say that. So like, I fought the come down all day at work, and you're obviously climbing trees, moving heavy stuff around, and then I'd no sleep, get home, and I'd be that exhausted that I just thought that's the only thing that's going to make me feel better. And it did. And I used to hide it so well when I used to do it. I used to sit down, I had like a routine, which is
quite an easy one to hide, I guess. If you're, like, because if you're really tired, and you do a bump of coke, you're not going to be tired anymore.
I used to I'd get home, that'd be the first thing I'd do, and then I'd go downstairs and eat dinner with my mum and dad. Wow. And they wouldn't know.
So it went from being something that was that accompanied a night out,
and a good time,
nipping into the bathroom, coming out with new energy, every
good laugh, good chats, like you have a good conversation with people, don't you?
And then it sort of
takes
transitions.
That social anxiety completely away.
Sure.
Like that, when you walk into a bar, it doesn't matter who you're going to meet. If you're not comfortable within yourself, you're not comfortable in that bar. Like, you know what I mean? Your mind's going, oh God, who's going to be in here? Who am I going to have to speak to? But you go into the toilet or whatnot, have a bit of that, come out, you feel like a new person. And that's what gets you as well. There's a lot of things that I think slowly get you hooked on it, if you know what I mean. Yeah. You feel, and then when you haven't got it, you're almost like, well, I can't be that person without it. Yeah. Which is a sad reality.
And so I guess that's where and why it transitioned from being a party thing to something that you would do at home on your own. Yeah. And that was when we were chatting as well on the 12th hour of Lone Wolf or whatever it was. When we were chatting, that was the thing that really stuck with me, was this idea of you, when you told me you would go home after a day's work and you'd get on it in your room by yourself.
On my own, in my own head. But horrible place.
What was like?
I can remember I used to I'd just lie on my bed, like no one obviously in there. I'd have music on, and I would just lie there on my back, and I just was so depressed, so unhappy. When I look at it now, like I knew I wasn't having a good time back then when I was addicted to it, but I can't explain to you what it makes you feel like when you need it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then as soon as you've had it, I'd just lie there, bosh, on my back, like sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Another day done.
Yeah.
And then I'd be in there all night on my own, just till early hours of the morning, 3-4 o'clock, and then I had to get up for work at 6:30. So, and I'd be lying there, like most nights, be lying there, just like praying that I could go to sleep, just at least get a couple of hours in before I go to work.
Yeah, because it's not like so a lot of people will have like a reasonable relationship with alcohol, but they might have a glass of whiskey or something which will calm them down, which will sort of chill them out,
and you go to bed.
It's like a it's a calming. It is going to badly affect your sleep, but you can understand why someone might have a joint or someone might have a drink to chill out.
Yeah.
But cocaine is like an upper.
Yeah.
It's something that is very much associated with partying. It's associated with raving, with all that sort of stuff. So the idea of you going home and needing that particular type of escape is even more fascinating to me. Like the feeling. And you must have with your. Did you feel like in your sober mind? Did you just feel drained from life?
Yeah.
And then the opposite of that was this
upper
energy.
Yeah. But I would sit there and not use it almost. Because you get to the point where it makes you paranoid. Obviously, I'm in my mum and dad's house. They haven't got a clue. They're downstairs like it's just a normal week. And I'm upstairs, lo and behold to them, off my tits.
Wow.
On my own. No, there's no fun in it, honestly. Like, I feel for anyone that feels like that. I really. And
we've spoken about like why. We've tried to speak a little bit about why people do it or what drew you to it. It's this escape and stuff. But really, the thing that makes it really difficult is the pre-existing. I guess we can call it depression.
Yeah.
But then it's the anxiety and negative thoughts and the invasion of the come down of that drug. How was that to deal with? Like every day.
Horrible.
With that.
So depressed at work. And you, the most draining thing is that you're trying to act like you're not. So you're putting on this big show every day that you find. Because no one knew. Nobody even had everyone knew that I liked doing it on the weekend. Nobody knew or had an inkling that that's what I was doing in the week. And I'm going, one of my best mates, I worked with him every day, didn't have a clue. So I'm putting on this brave bravado sort of, I'm fine sort of act, but inside I'm absolutely dying, and in my mind just rotting away, and that's why in the end it gets to you and it gets too much, because I'm spending the amount of money I used to spend on it. I used to spend £700 a week.
Wow, that is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Wow. And so your friend calls you up when you are
that was the first time. There's been one time since then. That was the last time, but that I really was that I was on my way out the door to
really
go and do the inevitable. And I was sold on it. I was at work. I remember being at work that day, and I'm just like, this is me. I ain't doing this shit no more. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's actually almost it's almost feels rational.
Yeah.
No one can live like that. Yeah.
No, it's going to catch up at some point. And you had like I was saying earlier, you've got that big heavy burden on your back of you trying to hide it from everyone because you're ashamed that you've got this problem. I didn't want to be that person, do you know what I mean? I didn't want people to look at me as a drug addict. Like, I'm trying to be like a good person with a good job, but behind closed doors I'm actually like a wreck, literally like just falling apart, and every day I'm trying to hide it, and it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting, and I'm in all this debt. I owe people money, you've got people chasing you for money, then you go in and get some more off some other bloke and you're ticking it off of him.
Wow.
So you've got like debts building up in every corner of your life. And nobody knows. That's the hardest bit, I think, and I think that's what gets people. It's that nobody knows, and if you go off and kill yourself, nobody would know, and that's the like true reality of today, isn't it? Like, a lot of people commit suicide and nobody understands why, but there's got to be something going on.
Well, a lot of people have financial concerns that they keep to themselves, you know, drugs and bad habits aside, whatever.
Yeah, just financially.
A lot of people get into a lot of financial debt and they don't tell their wife, or they don't tell their, you know, their family or whatever, and they don't solve it, and then, you know, it takes that unthinkable. Just takes that one day, and that was that day for me. Well, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was sat there on lunchtime. It was like pissing it down rain. Obviously we're out in the rain getting soaked, and I sat there, felt absolutely awful, and I just thought, nah, I can't do this no more. You know what I mean? And yeah, I went out, and that's he rang me. Yeah, and he knows who he is. I'm forever grateful for him. Like I said, I spoke to him this morning. He rang me. That was the bit of the game changer for me. So once that, that sort of initiated a bit.
I spoke to him, and he said, right, like, this is. He said, you need to sort your shit out, basically. So he took me home. Everything I had in the house, he took off me, took that away from me, so that I didn't have nothing, sort of thing. And then he's like, you're gonna be all right. Yeah, I'll be all right. And then I was like, right, I need to do something now. I've got to do something. And that's when I decided, right, I'm going to do the London Marathon. So I did a charity, signed up on a charity. Thought that would give me a focus, but it didn't really, because I carried on going out on the week. I sort of give up, but I didn't give up completely. Do you know what I mean? I give up for a while, and then I was like, oh, I could just do it on the weekends.
Sure.
I'm in control.
Sure.
And that's what I did then until I went to New Zealand.
Right. Okay.
So then I went to, like I said, I come back.
And I don't want to skip over also the day that you told your parents.
Yeah. So that's further along the line. That was in 2020.
That was after New Zealand.
That's after. So there's more to it.
Right.
So So I got back from New Zealand, went down, obviously, like I said, slipped straight back in the hole.
Yeah.
Started doing the running in the lockdown. So I did my first marathon, then I did a 50k. I just did a 50k from round where I live. One of my mates joined me for like 10 miles, and then my dad supported. And then I signed up to my first race. I did the Hurtwood 50 that's in Surrey Hills. Did that. And then I did a couple of 50 milers, and so this is all from like 2020, so lockdown 2020 into 2021, and then everything started opening up again in the middle of 2021, and I started going back out.
Yeah.
So then I fell back down the hole, but I was in a much better place, if you know what I mean, because I'm like got this new thing. I still carried on running. I've got this new passion. Felt loads better. And then I managed to start going out and just drinking, having a couple of beers, because before I couldn't do that. If I went into the pub, I could not have one beer and go home. It would never happen. I would get straight on get a bag in. Do you know what I mean? Within half hour of me stepping through the door, it didn't matter what day of the week it was. That was happening. Yeah. So when I give up, I had to stop everything, sort of thing. Yeah. But then I thought, right, I'll start going out, and I just drunk, and I did pretty well for a few months, and then I slipped up on a stag do, was a full day stag do sort of thing. England were playing,
Yeah.
drinking all day, and I know I had a little bit, and that was it for that day. And then it sort of creeped back in. So then I was doing it on the weekends again, and I thought I had control of it. So that was going into 2022, and then throughout 2022 I sacked the running off, and I went straight back to how I used to be. I weren't doing it in the week, but I was partying, festivals, you name it, every weekend sort of thing. And I got to the end of 2022, and I had a massive, just complete meltdown. I had a lot of shit going on in my life. Like, I had this health scare that was pretty bad. Like, that didn't help. Sort of, they thought that I could have had like myeloma, which is like a terminal cancer in my bone marrow. So that put a lot of stuff in my head. I was like, oh, fuck it, do you know what I mean? If I'm gonna die sort of thing. So then the wheels fell off, and I was just going through a lot of things, old relationships sort of thing, just sort of fell apart. And I just went off the rails after Christmas going into 2023, and then March 2023 I went out on a night out. This was the last day that I ever done it. I haven't done it since this day. We went out on a night out, and I got home, went back to my mate's house on it, and then I ended up just same sort of thing, don't want to be here. I really didn't want to be here, do you know what I mean? And I even went home, it kept me getting me a bit. I went home, see my mum and dad like 7 in the morning sort of thing. And then I said, I'm just going to pop out sort of thing. But I was still like, I hadn't been to sleep, do you know what I mean? So I got in my car, and I just drove. This is what I was talking about on my Instagram. So I just drove, didn't know where I was going. Now, obviously, I live down in Cornwall, but before this day, I'd never been down that side of the country.
And where were you driving from?
I was driving from Daventry in the Midlands. Yeah. So I just got in my car. I remember I went to Toaster, which is a little village, sort of town, filled up my car, jumped on I think it was the A34, and I just got on that till I got to the end, and then I think I got onto the M40, drove on that, and then I basically just drove on every road till I got to the end pretty much. Yeah. And then I got onto the M5, and I drove on the M5 till I got on the end. I was driving for about 7 hours, which is crazy, and I'm just crying. I honestly, if people like were driving past me looking at me, they would have thought, because I'm just absolutely bawling my eyes out, uncontrollable, just like, and this is it for me. Like, and I was sold on it. I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I've messed up here. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've sort of sorted myself out. So it was even more shameful the second time round, because I'd done some pretty good things. I'd achieved some pretty cool things. I'd done 250 milers. I was like, that's pretty mega, do you know what I mean? Considering I'd never done anything like that before. And then I just let it all go, and I hadn't ran for like over a year, and I just remember thinking, this is it for me. Like, I ain't getting out of this one. And then I'm in heap loads of debt. This is the debt that I'm still paying off now. So like, the debt that I was in before, I managed to almost get out of that prior. Yeah. And then 2022, I doubled it. Like,
really?
Yeah. So yeah, going back to that anyway, I sat on the M5, drove down to the end of the M5. This is where it gets quite spiritual for me. So you get to a junction, and they sort of veer off in a Y like that, and so you've got the A30 on your left here, which goes down to Cornwall. Yeah. And then you've got the A38, which goes down to Plymouth, like where the Lone Wolf was, down that road. So that day, I went right. So I went down to Plymouth and drove down, literally went into Plymouth, sat on top of this cliff in my car for about 2-3 hours, just on the top sort of thing. Like, I really didn't know what to do. I was so low. Like, that's the lowest I've ever felt by a mile. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know what to do. I was so like, like, everyone tells you should talk to someone. Do you know what I mean? But when you're in that situation, talking to someone is the last thing you want to do, because you don't want to admit it. Yeah. That's the hardest part.
It's not just as easy as just talking.
No, it's admitting that you've got a problem. Do you know what I mean? You're putting it out there in the world. People are going to know. Because before that, even though the time before, when I went to New Zealand, nobody knew. I kept it very small. There was only certain few people that knew what I was going through. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, like, so I've still got this burden because I've gone back down that hole. Do you know what I mean? And it's even bigger this time. It's like crushing me.
Yeah.
And I remember just being sat on top of that cliff, and it was like sink or swim. And I'm like, I either tell my mum and dad about everything, because they didn't know the surface of it. My dad knew a tiny bit, my mum never knew any of it because I didn't want to worry her. Do you know what I mean? So my dad knew like a little snippet of it that we spoke about when I did the marathon. We sort of had a little bit of a chat about it, and I told him sort of, do you know what I mean?
Like
told him in depth. Like when he told me to get away and go to New Zealand, he knew that I was just drowning in Daventry. Basically, he didn't know that know that I had a big cocaine addiction. I never told him. He just could see that being around Daventry and being in that
was making you not
in that
happy.
environment was not making me happy, and so he never knew. So I had that on my back of them not knowing, and I'm sat on top of this cliff, and I'm thinking, if I do this, I'm going to solve the problems that I'm going through, but then I'm going to ruin my mum and dad's life. Do you know what I mean? And I sat there, and I just had this, like, it was almost like a hologram sort of like come out of my mind, with just like my mum there, not saying anything, just looking at me.
Oh,
and
my God, bro.
Yeah, so I'm sat there, and I'm like, oh, I can't do it, I've got to speak to him. So, and that was the day. So the first thing I did, I went into the group chat with all the lads in, and I just put a message in there saying, I've got to step away for a bit, I'm real struggling here, do you know what I mean? Like this, like I'm at rock bottom here, I need help, sort of thing. I've got to step away, I've got to get away from everything, I've got to sort myself out. And to be fair to all of them, they all messaged me like independently, do you know what I mean? Like separately, and just like said, look, always here for you, like you're a brave man for admitting that. Do you know what I mean? So for me, that obviously I haven't like physically spoke to anyone, I've just put a message in, but I'm telling people that
It's a relief.
And I thought, oh, that feels nice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a text, and then you've got people supporting you, so it feels good. You're like, well, there's actually people that care about me here. Do you know what I mean? And then I made the decision then, so I drove home. It took me like 6-7 hours to get home. So I've gone through all of this, and I'm like, why have I drove down to Plymouth, man?
It was a closer cliff.
Literally, like, I could have just gone round the corner. So then I've got 6-7 hours of thinking, what am I going to tell my mum and dad? And this whole thing, like with that like hologram, like very spiritual. I always think that after that day, I believe something. I don't know what I believe, but I think there's something up there looking over us, because so I'm going through all this on the way home, processing how I'm going to tell them, what I'm going to tell them, am I going to tell them everything? Do you know what I mean? It's like loads of thoughts.
Yeah.
And literally I get 2 minutes away from my house, and obviously I've got shuffle on in the car, so just tunes playing, and the Beatles' Let It Be come on literally as I'm driving into Daventry, like.
No way.
Yeah, and I'm sat there like, couldn't have been a better song to come on. And I just drove into my house, parked on just outside the drive, went in. It was about 10 o'clock at night, so it was on a Sunday as well, so my dad was literally just going to bed, and I've like come in, I said, right, I need to speak to both of you in the lounge now, sort of thing. And I went into the downstairs toilet and just like looked myself in the mirror, and I was like, this is it, just tell them everything. And I just went in there, and I can't explain how I felt, because I couldn't speak. Like, I literally couldn't speak. I got in there and I was just like that. Couldn't. My mum's like tapping me on the back, like, what is it? Like my dad thought that I'd like killed someone. It was that bad. And I've got it out. Yeah, and it was. I just told him everything. I said I've got a fucking real bad cocaine addiction, and I'm in heap loads of debt, and it was the most ashamed I've ever felt, but at the same time it was like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And since I haven't
The breaking of the dam.
I promised them that day that I would never go back, and haven't. And I've done some pretty cool things since then. Like I'm such a different person now since that day. It obviously it wasn't easy, because
of course it's not just like
you're not
okay,
just
as soon
like
as you say the thing, now it's all done.
And you're gonna just give up like
right,
that.
The work starts then. Yeah.
Obviously you have to, like, your body's reacting to you not doing it, so that's not very nice. So I had loads of time off of work. I was so fortunate for the place that I used to work at. I love all of them boys, but the boss, he thought, because I hadn't been in for like 2 weeks because all this shit was going on, and I just told him I can't come in, do you know what I mean? But he thought I was working for someone else, so like my dad said, you've got to ring him. So this is on the Sunday. On the Monday I rang him, I'm crying my eyes out. I just kept crying. I've never cried so much in my life. I'm getting a bit emotional now, but it's hard to talk to, but it's not. Now I'm over the hump, and I've processed it pretty well now. I've spoke to quite a few people about it, so it's quite easy for me to talk about, do you know what I mean? But
it's helpful, man.
Yeah,
what you're doing
very
just
helpful.
by talking about it is helpful.
Yeah,
and it's helpful to talk about the details of it, and to talk about why it was so attractive, and why it hooked you in, and how easy it was, and how it slipped slowly into this thing, and how it took control. Yeah, and it's also important to talk about how, because I think there's a lot out there, whether it's whether there's people out there in any sort of similar situation to you, or if they're just a bit depressed or whatever. It's not just as simple as talking. It's as simple as talking because it's important to talk, but it's a big thing to ask someone to do. Talk.
Massive,
we need to talk about how hard it is to have the conversations.
Really hard.
That's what you're doing. You're having the conversations, and
it's very important.
And it's inspiring, man, because what you've now gone and done is you've become an ultra runner, not just an ultra runner, like a decent ultra runner. You're doing 100 milers. You're working up to do a 200.
I've done 400 miles. I've completed 4 anyway. I've attempted 6.
Nice.
So, you're not going to win them all, are you? But I've completed 4. So that's in the space just over 2 years.
And how do you think running has helped you? Do you think it's given you agency and control?
It's given me a purpose, I think, more than anything, and just the community. The community is brilliant. Yeah. The ultra running community is unlike anything I've ever been a part of. Definitely. Yeah. It's so I try and explain this to people when, like you've obviously got your marathon runners, and you say, they go, I can never do that. And I'm like, mate, you could. Yeah. It's a mindset thing, and the community and the people that you've run with, like me and you, like you just prime example. Do you know what I mean? We're sat here having a chat now, and that's all from doing a race together. You just meet so many nice people. I feel like when you do, say you're doing 10Ks or 5Ks events, it's so competitive that you don't really talk.
Sure.
If you know what I mean. You might have a little chinwag at the start, but if you're doing an ultra and you're out there for 12 hours and you bump into someone, you can be talking to them for like 2-3 hours, and you find out interesting stuff about, and people are willing to share, and there's no judging in the ultra community. I don't think there might be a little bit, but not a lot.
Sure.
I feel like you can open up to people pretty much straight away. And a lot, like I was saying earlier, a lot of people have been through some pretty hard stuff to get there. I feel like I've thought about it a lot. Can't quite figure it out why there's so many people that have been through something traumatic and then they've been drawn into ultra running. Because a lot of people say that you're running away from something. I don't believe that.
That's just I think that's just people taking a joke too far.
Yeah.
It's just used to be a funny little comment.
Yeah.
No, we're not running away from anything.
Yeah.
Because it's all up here. It stays with us.
Stays there when you're out there, even worse. I think you're just trying to prove to yourself that you've got a strong mind and you're made of something else. That's why I do it.
Giving yourself evidence of your capabilities.
Yeah, like because I've been so low in the past and I've felt so like ashamed
Hopeless.
and just helpless of like a human, like pathetic almost, if you want to say that. And when I'm doing these things, I'm like, no, you can do this, mate. You're capable of this. And then when you start talking to yourself like that, it's amazing how much you can change in that race.
Yeah.
Like you can be in one of them real low places in a race where you think, God, how am I going to go on? And you start giving yourself a bit of a pep talk, thinking about where you've been and what you've been through. And I start thinking about that sort of time and like how I felt then. That's like what I'm doing now is nothing how I felt then. If I can get through that, I can get through this sort of thing.
Yeah,
and then and then 10 minutes, 15 minutes, your legs are turning again, and then you're thinking about something else.
Into the new chapter.
It's like a roller coaster of emotions. They're great, but the community is brilliant.
So the running has been obviously such a massive part.
I think
of things.
Running.
You're getting a power off there.
Close.
The running, but what else? It's been. How long has it been? How long have you been sober?
2 years. 5 months.
Yeah, because it was 2 years at
4 months.
Wasn't it?
On the day, that was pretty special.
24 months.
Yes.
Yeah. It was so funny. When I saw you the second time, the second Lone Wolf.
Yeah. I told you.
You were like, this is actually
on the day.
This marks on the day 24 months sober.
So it was 24
and
laps.
You were doing 24 laps in 24
special.
hours. There's another spiritual coincidence.
Yeah, I really, I am quite a spiritual person. I do believe in that sort of stuff. But yeah, I remember telling you, and then like 2 laps passed, and I bumped into you, and you're like, "Oh, I've been texting Lou. I'm telling her."
Yeah, I was like, this is sick.
Yeah,
I was obsessed. So what else then? Like, if we're trying to sort of land with something helpful, maybe that someone's listening and there's stuff that's resonated. It may not be identical to your story, but they're in a rough patch, and I want them. I want you to sort of tell the story of the last 2 years in some way. Like, it's obviously not been easy, but what have been the crucial, most important pillars that have kept you standing?
So for me, I'm very fortunate that I've got a really good support system. Like my mum and dad, they're brilliant. I owe everything to them, really. Like 100%. My mum and dad, you can see how people never turn around, if you know what I mean, when they haven't, like, they're not fortunate enough to have good parents or parents at all, when there's no one to talk to then, do you know what I mean? And that's where that charity comes into it, like a helpline. I'd say my mum and dad, definitely, running, and just changing the way that I lived, I would say, definitely helped me. Like, I think what you eat is quite important. Just like daily habits that make you feel good about yourself.
Because I sometimes think of it like this, when you're in a place where you're addicted to something that's not good for you, you're seeking this escape from how you feel. So if you've got a food addiction, junk food addiction, or whether you've got like a drug addiction or alcohol, whatever it is, you're escaping what is uncomfortable in your own mind. You're trying to feel better. Ultimately, you're trying to feel better. Yeah. And there are other, and you do feel better usually, but it's very short-lived. You have the come down from junk food or from any sort of thing that you're leaning on. I think really what you found is that you found new habits. Not all of them. Not all of them will be desirable. You don't always want to go for a run or whatever. But you're still achieving the feeling of feeling better in your head, but through methods that are healthy.
So definitely the running is my addiction, I would say. Like I've always had a real addictive personality, and I just accept that now. Like,
if you're going to be addicted to something,
it's got to be
running. Is
do you know what I mean? It's not a bad one, but I'd say I realised quite early on that I needed something. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't just sit around all day, even though I don't sit around, because I obviously do tree work and stuff like that, which is physical. But for me, once I had that hold on the running, and I thought, I'm pretty good at this. Like, I've got something here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like finding your niche almost. That sort of gripped me then, and then I just haven't looked back. Obviously, I don't want to run every day. I'm doing this challenge. You don't want to do it every day.
10k every day.
Yeah.
Until you raise 10k.
Yeah. So, but some days I'll be doing more. Like, obviously, we were talking earlier, I'm training for the Winter Downs 200, so that would be my first 200 miler.
Huge, man.
Huge, yeah.
Huge.
When
is that?
December the 10th.
December the 10th. 200 miles in December the 10th.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to have to run 10k the day after.
Yeah, well, that'd be a good recovery. Maybe a sort of walk run.
I'll be having the poles out on the industrial estate, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Cool, well, good luck with that, man. How can people contribute to your challenge?
So, on my Instagram,
which is
Monty Purcell, literally just one word.
I'll tag it below.
Yeah, I've got the link in my bio there for the JustGiving. So anything is appreciated. I've said since I've started the challenge, I know times are hard now. Do you know what I mean? Even.
Yeah.
So I don't expect people to donate. Obviously, I'm doing it so people do donate, but I completely understand why people can't, if you know what I mean. Even just like £1 is enough for me. I'm not really in it to get it done quick. I know it's going to take time, so I've anticipated it to take at least a year, maybe 2 years. So
yeah. But you've chosen, I think it's really apt that you've chosen calm, because your story,
it resonates with them big time. I've had quite a bit.
Because it's about the conversations you've had.
Yeah, so this is the whole point for me. This is why I picked that charity, because I know firsthand how important it is to make that first call. Like I said, when I put that message in the group chat, it's the biggest relief you've ever felt. And that's just a text. So like, I know obviously you don't know the person down the phone, but just calling them up and just admitting to someone in the world that you've got a problem and you need some help is going to make you feel 100 times better. I can guarantee you that. That
can be the first step. It doesn't have to be. Because actually it may be that someone has an amazing support network. Yeah. But calm could be quite useful for them, because that support network is quite scary to tell those individuals first.
Yeah, like I said, I'm lucky to have a good support network with my mum and dad and my friends, but everyone hasn't got that. So this calm is somewhere you can call up. You're not going to get judged or anything like that. You can call up, they can speak to you, they can calm you down, do whatever, and just let you know that you're going to be all right. Do you know what I mean? Point you in the right direction if they need to, but like I said at the start, you might just need that one phone call, and that could be it. That might give you the confidence to go and speak to someone else then.
Yeah, and eventually, it could get to a point where you do tell everyone around you. And
the more you talk, with me, like I said, I spoke to my parents, that was a big relief, and then I told my boss, that was another big relief, and then from there on, I just spoke about it. And then you get comfortable speaking about it, do you know what I mean?
And then you can and then those who are closest to you, like you were saying earlier, actually, off mic, you were saying how helpful, how your life has transformed since with your fiance, sorry.
Yeah.
And how
fiance,
and just how supportive she's
been. This is what throws me off with the spiritual stuff, because my dad mentioned this to me probably a year or two ago, and I hadn't thought about it until he mentioned it. But so obviously that day when I went down to Plymouth, you get to the Y junction, I went right, and every time, like when I go home, every time I go down to Cornwall now, I go left. And for me, I get goosebumps every time I get to that junction without fail. Like it gets me going, and I go left, and for me that is somebody telling me I'm on the right path in life, I'm doing the right things, and I'm always going to go left. And it's a big thing for me, that is. And I don't know if there's any what's the word, not meaning, I can't think of the word, coincidence behind it. But yeah, that day I didn't know where I was going. I'd never been to Plymouth in my life, so.
Well, I think if it has meaning for you,
it's big,
and it's powerful for you, whether it feels spiritual, whether it doesn't, if it exists in your head, it exists.
It picks me up every time I get there, and that's my little message: always go left.
Nice, man.
Once you've got over that initial hump, but for me as well, you never get over it. Like, I still struggle.
It's a decision every day.
I still struggle. I don't tell people this very often, but they're like night terrors almost. I have
Really?
Nightmares. They're horrible. I haven't had one probably for a few months, but I have a dream where I'm back in somebody's house with some people that I don't want to be with, and I'm there, and I know I shouldn't be there, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
So I'm in this dream.
Yeah.
There's obviously everyone's doing God knows what around me, and then I make the decision in the dream to do a bit.
Wow.
Right. So it's the same thing every time. So I have a bit, and I'm sat on this sofa, and I sit there, and then I start thinking, I shouldn't have done that, and I've let my mum and dad down, I've let Liv down, and I work myself up on this sofa into this massive ball of anxiety, and then I wake up in real life, and it's literally like a film moment where I'm like, and I'm sweating, and the biggest relief you ever feel when I realise it's not real. Like, it's horrible in the moment. When I wake up and I realise it's not real, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But it happens, it's the same one every time, and it's like a big, I work myself right up. I'm sat on that sofa, I shouldn't have done this, I've let everyone down, blah, 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 and I'm like about to explode, and then I wake up in real life.
Well, you care, man, and you
and that's, I told someone about that, and that's what they said. That's like, well, at least you shouldn't be doing it in the dream. Do you know what I mean?
It's better to have that experience in a dream.
Whether I'm not, it's not like I'm having a dream and I'm like, oh, this is brilliant.
Sure.
I'm well happy. Yeah, but so it's one of them. It's a daily battle. I don't know if it'll go on forever, but yeah.
Well, you're strong for doing it. You're brave for talking about it, and I appreciate you coming on, man. It's been a pleasure to go for a run with you. Hang out, talk about it in depth. Is there any kind of final closing thoughts that you have in your mind that you don't feel like you've said?
I think I would just like to say a massive thank you to everyone that supported me along the journey. My mum and dad, all my mates, Liv, everyone's played a huge role in who I am today. I wouldn't be here without any of them, so I'm very grateful, forever grateful for all of them. They know who they are. And we'll see where the journey goes. So, yeah.
Well, it's going to 200 miles in a winter race. That's the next step.
Stay tuned for that one.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Bring it in.
Love you, man.
Thank you for listening to this conversation. And Monty, thank you for making the trip up to London and for being brave enough to share your story. It's not easy to speak publicly about the darkest chapters of your life, but it's clear to me that you're doing this for the right reasons. Your mission is genuine, you want to help people, and this conversation will. Before we wrap, I want to say this clearly. This episode touched on subjects like addiction, mental health struggles, and suicidal thoughts. If any of those topics have affected you personally, or if you're currently in a dark place, please know you are not alone. Help is available, and there are people who care and want to support you. You can reach out to Calm, the Campaign Against Living Miserably, at thecalmzone.net. They offer a free confidential helpline and web chat, open 5 p.m. to midnight every day. That's 0800 58 58 58 in the UK. You don't have to carry it all by yourself. Talking to someone could be the first step towards a brighter future, just like it was for Monty. You can also find the link to Monty's fundraising page in the show notes. He's running 10k every single day until he raises 10k for Calm. The cause is real, the mission is honest, and every step he takes is a message. You're not alone. Run the Runnable. Keep showing up for yourself. And I'll see you next time.